Let this sink in for a moment. We've just seen the worst performing November for car manufacturing since 1980. 1980, 44 years ago. If there was ever a single snippet that put into perspective just how poorly the industry is, it's that. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back. I do hope you're having a very lovely pre-Christmas weekend. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of Christmas cheer to be had in the car industry at the moment, particularly the manufacturing sector, as we enter into what is the 9th consecutive month of decline. Ooh, this is worth taking a look at. All major manufacturers experienced declines, representing the worst performance for the month since 1980. It's quite the stat, isn't it? Output for both domestic and export markets fell sharply, down by more than half, 56%, and a fifth, 21% respectively, with more than 8 in 10 cars shipped overseas, and more than half of these, 52%, heading into the EU. Some 19,000 battery electric, plug-in hybrid, and hybrid electric cars were made in the month, representing almost a third, almost 30% of output, despite volumes declining by 45.5%. From January to November, UK car makers have produced more than 250,000 electrified vehicles, down 19.7% on the same period in 23, due primarily to model switchovers taking place at major plants. Take that with a pinch of salt, we're going to come back to it and discuss it later. In the year to date, UK car output has now fallen by 12.9% to 734,000 units, 108,000 fewer than the same period in 23, and almost 500,000 short of 2019 volumes. Startling figures. So the big question is, why are we seeing this massive decline? Well, it rather depends on who you ask, but the proof is in the pudding, and who better to consult on the matter than the manufacturers themselves who are bearing the brunt of this. We've got Stellantis citing the ZEV Mandate as a reason to close its Luton van plant. That's the Vauxhall plant in Luton. Massive job losses. It's been around for over 100 years. Massive loss to the industry as a whole. We've got Ford cutting 800 jobs in the UK due to the ZEV mandate. I mean, Ford only employ 6,000 people here in the UK, so 800. It's a significant loss to the brand. And Nissan calling for urgent support from the government due to the ZEV mandate. We've all seen in recent weeks Nissan in a bit of hot water, this merger with Honda coming along to try and save them essentially. And again, the ZEV mandate being cited as a reason. It's certainly not made life easy for them, has it? So as you may already know, this year the government's ZEV mandate stipulated that 22% of manufacturer sales had to be accounted for by electric vehicles or face £15,000 fines per non-compliant vehicle. Here's the thing though, the consumer demand for EVs in that capacity just does not exist currently, and so manufacturers understandably are frantically trying to find ways of selling more, at least on paper, to limit the damage of these fines. Here's the issue though. The problem is that the techniques they're using to do this are resulting in the industry performing worse than it did in the 80s. Now, I've made a video on each of these techniques that they've been using, but rationing petrol and diesel cars and mass pre-registration of electric vehicles are two of the said techniques that's resulted in this mess. And worst of all, it's not even worked. Only 18.7% of the target has been reached. And so, the already struggling industry is poised to be hit with over £6 billion in fines, and potentially even more in 2025. Now, I don't think anyone can argue it's overdue for the government to step in and review the ZEV mandate before even more damage is done. Mercifully, there is a small glimmer of hope that surfaced only in the last day or so, so let me share that with you. Now, I'll add this article in the description below, so if you want to go off and read it yourself, you can do it. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but let me give you the gist of it. Effectively, the government has asked Vauxhall Stellantis to hit the brakes, to pause on making redundancies at that Luton plant, which is great news. Hopefully something comes of this. It also coincides with them at the beginning of this month, December 2024, saying they are going to review the ZEV mandate. As for what the changes are going to be, of course, I'll cover them. I'll make a video on them. We'll do a deep dive on them. So if you are interested in finding out what they are as they happen, hit the subscribe button and you'll be sure to see a video come along on that soon. At the moment, all we can do is speculate as to the changes that they're going to make. but hopefully they are significant and they do allow the industry to start recovering and protect jobs, protect livelihoods. Now, please do let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments section below. I think it's madness. If you go and order a petrol or diesel car right now, chances are you're going to get pushed right into Q1, possibly even Q2 for delivery of it, because we've got this backlog now of petrol and diesel cars which have been rationed. Owners are still waiting to take delivery for cars that they've paid for. It's absolute insanity. But if you want to go and buy an electric vehicle, they'll practically throw it at you with massive discounts and everything they can to try and get it out the door and avoid yet another fine. It's little wonder that the used car industry is booming at the moment. And if that's you, if you are buying used, and understandable why you think about doing it now, even if you've always bought new cars, here is a service worthy of your consideration. This is completely free. Put the plate of any car that you're interested in into the vehicle score system and it will tell you the good and bad points for absolutely nothing. Free service. However, if you are serious about buying that car, make sure you do buy one of their paid HPI reports. I'll add a 15% discount voucher in the description below. Feel free to use that, get a little bit off, and make sure your next car's a good one. But as ever, thank you so much for joining. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hit subscribe, hit like, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you for the next one.